Hey, I'm J. Michael Davis, aka HellBent. I'm a contemporary artist living in New York, originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I've been up in Brooklyn for 15 years now, making art. Started making art on the street. In that, I found that instead of trying to work within this gallery system, I decided just to go out on the street and put my stuff up. And early wheat paste, tagging, graph more influence stuff, and eventually into a more pictorial realm. Back then, I was selling work on the street in Williamsburg, and at night going around putting stuff up around. It was a different neighborhood then. There wasn't that many people off of Bedford Avenue, so you kind of had free reign to go put things up. In 2002, Williamsburg, there's tons of artists coming together. We were throwing art parties, going to art parties, meeting different artists and huge influences. And so then I took it upon myself to start kind of putting stuff on the street start a conversation with these artists. Early 2000s, Williamsburg, I was doing mostly bombing, doing a lot of pastel colors and bubble letters with the name like HellBent, kind of using that juxtaposition, and doing a lot of rollers throughout, and just having mostly destroying property at the time, and eventually started into doing the carvings, and kind of I've just found a limited thing with doing straight graph, more drawings and carvings, and putting these around and going through that. Now at this point I have a kid. I'm old by a lot of people's standards, and don't enjoy going to jail, so I do mostly legal mural walls now and gallery stuff. I would say it's more in the canon of art history as a contemporary look on abstraction and illusion, if you will, not per se trompe l'oeil or something, more of an abstract illusionism, which is an art movement that came out of the 70s, like Ronald Davis and some other people that were working with changing the two-dimensional plane into a three-dimension. And what my work I'm trying to do is create layers and depth through color theory and shadowing and things to give an optical effect to the viewer. In 2012, BSA and I curated this geometric show, maybe expound on this Graph-Futurism movement and put together some artists that are working within that vein. And it was a huge success and an early catalog of abstract street-based artists working in North America. So in 2014, BSA had an opportunity to curate the construction walls around the Domino Sugar Factory. The Domino walls are kind of a further exploration of the geometric show that was curated in 2012. When thinking about the format of it, as I was working on sketches and doing things, I figured that the viewer is going to come and experience it in sections, because there's no way to actually see the whole thing at one time. So my thinking was that along Kent Avenue, there's a lot of movement, a lot of cars, bike riders, walkers going by. And so as they're walking, running, driving, they're going to experience it in motion. And so I wanted to give my piece a sense of motion. The process of making this mural was pretty intense. It was over 500 feet long. I had a team of 6 people working with me and 2 scissor lifts. And given the weather conditions down by the water, it's very windy. In springtime, unpredictable. We charged through it, but it still took 3 weeks to complete. And what I really enjoy about doing work on the street is the conversations and people you interact with as you're painting. And, I find people are more apt to talk to you about your art on the street as they are more so than in a gallery. So I had some really great conversations. I was really surprised to see that the Hasidic community really enjoyed what I was doing and had a lot of great feedback. And in general, a lot of people were happy to see it converted from a dark green wall into a colorful, moving, art piece. Two Trees has a history of supporting art, and especially local Brooklyn artists, given that they're based in Brooklyn. It was cool of Two Trees to approach me for this project and the other 2 artists that are also Brooklyn based, and I think to me it shows that they do have a concern for the neighborhood and for the community in general. I'm really happy with the way the Domino walls turned out, and it was a great experience for me as an artist, especially to work through challenges on scale and even administrative things like working with a crew and things like that. So I think it was a great opportunity for me to grow as an artist.